Hello everybody and welcome to the Elite Dangerous live stream. I'm Edward Lewis, part of the community management team here at Frontier Developments, and tonight is, well, a feedback stream, of sorts, with the wonderful Sandro Sammarco here.
Hello.
Lead designer on Elite Dangerous.
So they tell me.
So they tell you. Part of a larger, excellent, lovely, wonderful team of designers.
Yeah, standing on the shoulders of an amazing team of designers and everyone else.
I think it's very, very
obviously.
important to talk about. Yes, loving the t-shirt. Sandy says Robert Maynard. Straight away, Fiery Toe says hello, Ed and Sandy, and lots of people saying awesome stuff about the Don't Panic t-shirt, which is very topical.
Don't panic.
Very topical.
Yeah,
very
apparently
topical.
so.
And also is a message that I'd like to give to you for this live stream, Sandy.
Yeah.
For yourself. Don't panic. It's going to be great in the end.
Yippers.
Apparently there are some crackling noises. If anyone is hearing some crackling noises on the end, I'm not sure what it is. It might just take a little quick reset of open broadcasting software. I think that's what it's called. So if there is some popping sounds coming through, what I can do is I can restart. It will mean that I have to go back to the starting screen for a second. So thanks so much for your patience. We'll be back answering some questions, talking about the beta in just 2 moments' time. So thanks for being patient with us. Yeah, see you in a sec.
Crackling panic.
Crackling panic, panic, quick, don't panic. Hey everybody, and we're back. We're back. Oh, you were looking over that way. There's something over there. I'm hoping. I don't know what that is, but I'm hoping it is sounding slightly better already. On my end, it seems to be okay. So it could be something to do with the YouTube. We can just blame YouTube. No pop apparently, and we're back. Look, I can't. Great.
It's all good.
Classics.
I hope so.
The classics of stopping and starting again. So thank you everybody for being patient with us and coming to that tonight. Yeah, of course we've got lead designer Sandy Sammarco is here to answer some questions from the forum. We are going to be you've got and
I've got some questions.
No, don't take a look at this. You can't really see it because it's. But this is. I think there's over. I think we counted 150.
There's something like that. There's a lot of questions. This isn't all the questions. We're not going to be able to get through all the questions. I'm sorry. There just isn't enough time.
Straight up,
I do have to go home.
Sort of stuff. We do have to go home at some point in our lives.
At some point.
But we are going to try and get through as many questions as possible tonight. Focusing, of course, on the beta and 3.0, which is the Beyond season and the start of Beyond season with Chapter 1, which includes some awesome stuff. And I have got a list of the things that I do. I actually want to read Jiggle the Mic Inputs. Jiggled. God, I don't.
Space team.
Let's ignore that. We're going to go through the questions. All right. So first of all, lots of things we have. Of course, crime and punishment, which I'm sure we'll go into some details about later on. Little mini summary.
Little mini summary. Crimes are attached to ships, so you can swap ships. The way that interstellar factors work, they're going to lock you out, so you can't pay them if you've got notoriety, because you can have notoriety when you kill players. So we've got notoriety, which is mainly there to help mitigate against seal clubbing, killing noobs, but it does also, I guess some people are going to find that entertaining to get huge notoriety and run the risk of being caught with an enormous bounty. Lots of other bits. Respawning, the way you respawn will change as well based on what you were doing, whether you're a criminal or where you died, so loads of cool stuff.
Cool stuff. Wing missions, which kind of
hopefully speaks for itself. There are missions and there are wings, and the wings can do missions.
We have planetary improvements, of course, which is just
clever stuff from clever people.
Very clever stuff from very people, making the planets essentially more vibrant, and also actually having a benefit because you'll be able to see from a distance what sort of chemical makeup they will have.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
We have the Chieftain, of course, which is
lovely
flyer on the ship. We have the Tech Broker, which is new stuff to play with, and this sort of personal narrative that we talked about. personal narrative.
Yeah, actually, it's you're taking the story element and actually getting something personal from it. So,
I didn't mean to in any way mock the thing that I said on repeat for 8 hours. I think it was more that I picked up that some people were like, "Oh, I'd said that a lot."
Yes.
So I was saying that again.
It's a buzzword.
Sorry. All right. Trade data changes, which are absolutely fantastic, amazing, awesome things. So we have the megaship interactions. We have the improvements to engineering, change to engineering.
Yeah, big
as
overall
well.
engineering.
The materials trader, Galnet audio, and of course, Kovas customization as well.
Yes, and there are a couple of little things in there as well, right? Like being able to ignore certain materials and resources, so you can only get what you want, makes mining a bit better. Not obviously the big mining update, which is coming later on in the series, of the Beyond series, but with Chapter 1, what we're doing is we're putting a marker in the sand and going, this is the kind of direction that we want to do, that we want to take. These are the kind of fixes that we want to get in there, the kind of updates that we want. So hopefully, well, there's a lot to it. Hopefully, people will enjoy it.
Great.
Get better.
I'm checking out the audio over here, and I'm trying to.
Oh look! Apparently, I've got like crazy eye. He's got crazy eye, but I can't.
Oh great!
It's like
it's always fun when people. All right, let's.
That's pretty cool, though, right?
Basically, I wanted to do a quick summary of everything that's coming with in the beta.
Yeah.
Sorry, in the release.
In the release from the beta,
which is going to be 3.0, which is a very exciting time. This update is absolutely taken from feedback that from not just the last 3 months, but the entire time that this has been out.
Exactly. Yeah.
And making fundamental changes to things that will be beneficial and helpful for the long term.
Absolutely, long term health of the game. Absolutely.
So
that's the plan.
This is just part 1.
Yeah.
This is just chapter 1 of multiple chapters.
Yeah, there's more coming, and it's much bigger than we initially anticipated as well. We've crammed more in than we were going to. So
excellent stuff.
Thank you for supporting us. Actually,
very cool. Yeah, absolutely. It's stunning and means that certainly makes fills me with excitement and stuff. The support that we get from the community.
And so it's
very encouraging.
Are
you saying it's my job? Is that what you're looking
at?
No,
I was just saying it's good to be filled, right?
Okay.
And if you're going to be filled with something, then
let it be enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's move on then, Sandy. Tonight is going to be a little bit of a dry. Let's listen to Sandy talk through answers.
Yeah.
Talk to questions. Rapid fire. He's got his Pepsi Max, so it's all right. He's ready.
You're not meant to mention things like that, are you? I've got my unspecified drink.
We're not the BBC. We're allowed to say whatever we want. But fair enough. Right. Okay. So we're not going to be able to answer every question.
Yes.
Straight up, I'm going to say that there are some times when you will have to say can't answer that.
Yes.
But we want to show that we have read through all of them.
Yeah.
There are hundreds of questions that have been answered here. And well, hopefully you'll enjoy that.
Yeah, and so as per usual, apologies in advance for having to listen to my dulcet tones.
Oh, they're lovely.
And I'll try not to speak too fast, but I do want to get through as many of these as possible. I'm going to try and be as honest as possible. You don't get that much spin with us because we're not very good at it, so it's just going to be the truth. But hopefully that won't take away from the fact that we're very proud of this Chapter 1 release. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be amazing. I think it's a good indicator for where the game's going. The fact that it's got continued support. So again, thank you for that. So shall I just start? Shall I just dive in?
Go for it.
Dive in, mate.
Also, I'm playing in open on the beta as well. And of course, with it being the end of the beta, tonight's one of the last days. I think it's ending tomorrow.
It is ending very soon.
Come out and join us outside the front of the station. I don't know. Hey, let's make each other explode. Okay.
Okay.
If you know what I mean by that. Don't panic. All right. Also, I'm going to try and fix this audio.
Okay, right. I'm going to go then. So this is mainly taken from the forum thread, which people chucked in zillions of questions. So I just start at the beginning. So, Factabulous, I love that name, says, are you happy with the drop rate for boron and lead? For very common materials, they seem low when mining. Well, they might seem low, Factabulous, but actually we use exactly the same drop rates for them as we do for all of the very common materials. So you might have just gone through a bad patch. There's nothing, barring any kind of weird bug, which there might be, but I very much doubt it, their drop rates are just very common. You also asked volcanic sites, some with tourist beacons, went missing in the beta. Will they be back in 3.0? These were types of structures on planets, partially dependent on the placement. Oh, right. So these types of, so I've got this straight from the Clever Render and Stellar Forge team. So these types of structures on planets are partially dependent on placement of materials on planets, which have changed to 3.0. Right. So with apologies, some fumaroles have moved or changed type. And that's just the way that's just happened. However, this links in with a known issue where users can see different types of structures in the same location depending on their platform and or GPU mix. And it stems from different cards providing slightly different results for the same calculation driving the placement. So we are working on providing a more stable system for providing surface information for a future Beyond release. And as a side note, we're going to move as many of the tourist beacons, well, hopefully all of the tourist beacons that are no longer attached or close to where the sites they're meant to be, we're going to move them to those sites. So we're going to try and minimise the disruption. So there is a bit of a known issue there, but we're going to work around it as best we can and try and get it sorted out for you. The reason I got confused there was I coloured it all in red, what I shouldn't have done. Okay, will Rhenium be available from planets? No, it's available in rings only. There's a good reason for that as well. Putting on planets would alter the makeup of what's found on all planets. So it's just unfortunate. We would like to put it on planets. It's not that we don't want to do that. Just that at the moment, it would potentially invalidate a lot of hard work that the players have put into discovering what's where and for the various kind of statistical pages and things that have been created. So it is something that we want to look to do in the future, just not for Chapter 1 because we've got so much else going on. And we want to make sure that if we do add it in, we don't invalidate the players' data. We want to minimise that. Are there any plans to encourage people to fix more Thargoid attack stations, starports actually, but I'll let you off that one. We've already increased the rate. Increased the rate at which feedback's given about how well a starport's doing. We're going to reduce the target requirements, which that may have already happened, or it's happening soon. And we've got a few more interesting options, but unfortunately they're in the pipeline. I'm not going to talk about them just yet, but so that's an ongoing thing. So we are looking at that as well. So Obsidian Ant asks, are there any plans to change the exchange rate ratio on material traders, which is currently I think like 6 to 1 going one way and 3 to 1 going in your favour when you're transferring down. So the long and short of this is not at the moment. So the engineering update is very huge and wide ranging, and material trader is part of it. There are other sections to it as well. So what we want to do is, the beta is great for testing in a lot of ways, but it's still only a subsection of the player base. We need to see how these ratios work in the wider scheme, right? When used in anger by everyone. So we need to let that bed in, see how people find it, get some more feedback across across a broader range of players. But we're not averse to changing it. It's not like it's locked in stone. Luckily, it is a number that we can change without having to force an update or a client update, anything like that. It's something we can do behind the scenes that will then just kind of start working. So it may well be that they go down a bit. It's unlikely they'll go up. However, we want to do it small steps here. We want to basically make sure that it's either working or not working before we make any changes, because we'll be affecting a live game, right? So we want to minimise the number of changes we make. He also asked, with all the Lacon changes recently, could the Xplorer get a jump range buff? And this has come through from a lot of people. So again, not at the moment. However, we're continuously assessing our ships, and every time a new one comes out, we reevaluate what's being used, what's it meant to be being used for, what are people actually doing with it, and we've got lots of stats we look at. So it's quite plausible in the future that it might be buffed, but it's one of a number of ships that might receive buffs. So just not the Anaconda, probably.
On your next question,
yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I want to make sure you guys have got the best experience. This is a live stream very much focusing on talking, so we do not want there to be a distraction. So I am going to try one last couple of things and change some settings.
Am I crackling?
So what I'm going to do, because I can hear it as well, I can hear it back. So what I'm going to do is quickly reset things again. It will be 2 minutes, but I promise you're not losing out on 2 minutes. We'll come back and
we'll stay a bit longer
and continue that.
2 minutes, 10 seconds.
Yep. Okay. Hello. Okay, so I've tried a couple of things there. So I do apologize. It's we want our best to make sure that it can hear everything. Yeah, and we'll leave it there. That's the last go. I just wanted to make sure it's good before the reset. And some people, if not, press F5. Do a control. I don't know what it is. It's still there apparently.
Just don't let it affect you.
Okay, that seems fine. But anyway, right, just listen carefully, and there's nothing more I can do with this current situation.
Well, let's just keep going and see how far we get. Defreeze, I think that's how you say it, says, Shield generator and booster stacking, any changes? So it's a good one because we have been looking at this, and we've looked, as anyone who's followed the game will know, we've tried it to a few reductions on shield boosters a few times. We've always rolled back because we've been a little bit worried about the results. So for Chapter 1, we're not going to make any changes. However, we've decided to attack it from a different angle rather than, because we don't want to take away what people have got. We don't want to, you know, it feels wrong to just kind of constantly nerf things. So instead, we're going to, I mean, we were going to have to create more modules going forward anyway, more guns and things like that, and other cool toys. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that there's a line of effects and/or weapons and tools to allow people to specifically target and defeat the benefits you get from shield booster stacking, basically pumping up your shields. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, but the more we've discussed it, the more we think there could be some nice trade-offs there. You know, so the idea is still to get to a reasonably balanced place where you can take a bunch of weapons and armaments in, but you can't guarantee to protect against anything, and there are always counters. But it's, you know, what do you bring? That kind of fix, we kind of think also might help with wing battles a little bit more as well, because it allows you to spread your choices across wing members so that you can try and cover all the bases. So that should be interesting. So sorry, you have to wait for that. It's going to come in one of the next updates, in a later update in the Beyond series. But we are going to look at it. We do want to address this issue, but we kind of want to do it right. We just felt at the moment that just cracking down and destroying the shield boosters wasn't quite the right thing to do. So that's it. It's page 1 done. So page 2. A buff for the Federal Corvette, frameshift drive, small hard points to medium armour or anything? No, not at the moment. The Federal Corvette may, like the Asp, may get buffed at some point in the future, but at the moment we're not really seeing monster problems with it. It's still a very powerful ship. It's still used an awful lot considering it's rank locked. So we're going to keep an eye on Tim's. We're constantly assessing the ships, but not at the moment. Question 3 from D-Freeze, I think. Module storage upgrade for credits, perhaps. Module storage increase? I'm not convinced. Sorry. Okay. Outfitting for the ship launch fighter. Maybe it's time to give it some love. We already have outfitting for ship launch fighter in CQC. Any chance for changing weapons or utility? Well, nothing to announce at the moment, so not in 3.0. It is something that clearly we may do at some point. It's in the big list of things, so it's more a case of when its priority gets high enough in the list to make us say, yeah, it's time to do it. So it's certainly not a bad idea. It's a good idea. It's just balancing the time and resources. Optimal mass experimental effect for shields. So if I'm getting this right, this is to allow the larger, heavier mass ships to fit weaker shields, smaller shields. Because that ability has been removed effectively with the revamp to engineering. So not in 3.0, but almost certainly. We definitely want to do that. We don't want to take that away long term. So it'll come back. You've got to bear with us. Expect a number of changes, tweaks, improvements to the various blueprints and what's available as we progress in the Beyond series. So almost certainly going to happen. Okay, Cocalorix. I've seen that name loads of times. I still don't know how to say it.
So really quickly, there are a couple of people still talking about the crackling. It's unfortunately nothing I can do right now. I'm listening to the direct feed that we're outputting, and it is completely clear to me. Both our microphones are working completely fine. So it's something on the output end. I've tried to increase the audio bit rate. Unfortunately, I'm not sure what's going on with that tonight.
It's my voice is just naturally husky and masculine.
It adds a little crackle as if he's a fireplace.
Yeah, exactly.
So I do apologise, guys. But
yeah, sorry.
Put up with it just for now. I'm so sorry. Thank you.
Okay.
As long as you can hear Sandy, that's the important thing.
So Cocalorix says, has the implementation of the Universal Limpet Bay been discussed yet? Can you give us any details on our tracking limpet still planned? So a lot of you cheat. I'm getting all these questions in one, but I'll answer them. Yes, it has been discussed. Clearly, there are loads of limpets now. Overall, it is putting too much of a strain on module slots that we didn't intend to initially. We're certainly not going to have a universal limpet slot where you can just fit everything into, or a limpet controller that does everything. That would take away the point of having different limpet controllers. However, Steve Kirby came up with I thought it was a great idea. Don't know where he got it from. Maybe the internet, or maybe just come up with himself, because he's a lovely guy and he's great. About having, in the way that we have fighter hangars as modules, and SOV hangers that have slots in them, racks that you can fit a number of fighters in. We're considering doing the same thing with Olympic controllers, so you get some sort of like Olympic controller rack, and it can store a number of controllers in it. So it won't be all of them, but it will basically mitigate the fact that there are lots of Olympic controllers while still retaining some amount of juggling that you have to do. So that again is just a matter of when can we do it, not if we're going to do it. We totally want to do it. And track Olympics, I really want them. They're in the big list. Hopefully at some point we'll get them. Not for 2.0, but hopefully sometime and beyond. You never can tell. No ETAs, no guarantees. I've not said that in a long time.
It's been a while.
Okay, Lucifer Danzig. Anything in the works anything in the works for an in-game way of changing HUD colours without fiddling with XML files or making the NPC portraits look weird? Sorry, not at the moment. Annoyingly, it's technically very problematic. I don't know how, because I'm not clever like the guys that do it all, but it is a significant. It's not impossible, clearly, but it's a significant outlay. We've got bigger fish to fry at the moment. It's always sitting there on the list, just not yet. Commander The Riz says, will we be able to engineer the tech broker's experimental modules, such as the shot cannons and enzyme missile racks? That may well come. Yes, it's very likely, in fact, for most of the weapons, because they've been balanced along normal weapon ranges. So without engineering, they would fall behind. So that's likely going to come. I'm not sure when, but as the updates roll out in the Beyond series, that's likely to happen. You might find there are certain modules that crop up you get hold of that are never going to get engineered or not engineered anytime soon, because they're already balanced to be at the top end of around the top end of their engineered equivalents, so of normal modules. But you'll have to see what's out there before to work out which ones fall into which categories. Yin Yin, Commander Yin Yin says, can we have mining laser turrets behave like experimental weapon turrets, acting as fixed by default for the helm and turreted only for crew? Why don't mining lasers fire is the most frequently asked question I see since their turreted version was introduced. I think there's been a little bug, annoyingly, that if you set the turrets to act in fire at will or a normal turret mode, then don't work properly. As a workaround for now, what I would suggest is always set those turrets to fixed fire or forward fire only. That means the helm they'll be treated, as far as the single player is concerned, as forward firing fixed weapons. But if you then multi-crew your ship, they will automatically be picked up as turreted weapons, and the gunner can get hold of them and fire them as normal. So we will fix it in the end, so that they always work correctly no matter what setting they're on. But I think that should be a decent workaround, hopefully. If it's not, please tell us and bug it. That's page 2 done. Andrak. Are you going to change NPC behaviour at megaships? Even in silent running, they almost immediately fly up to you and scan you, knowing where you are through cosmic mind melding. Ooh. This ruins a silent running megaship hacking mechanic and gets you fined. Yeah, so there could be some priority tweaking we need to do here, but just to very quickly explain how silent running works with NPCs. So all ships, when they get really close to each other, can detect each other on their sensors. And there's no such thing as a totally cold ship, right? Within a few hundred metres, or maybe up to 500 metres, I'm not sure, ships just output enough emissions that any of the ship's sensors can detect them. So that's one thing that can happen. NPCs have a set of additional rules to try and mimic human behaviour. So up to, I think it's about 3 kilometres in a 75-degree view cone from the front of the ship, they can spot you, and even if you're silent running and they haven't detected you on their sensors. Now, they shouldn't be able to scan you at that range, but if they can spot you, then clearly they're just going to fly up to you and scan you when they get within scanning range. So once they've spotted you, that's sticky up to 4 kilometres. However, if you can break line of sight by maybe going behind an asteroid, or if you can get out of that view cone, either one, for 10 seconds, they will actually lose you. And of course, if you go beyond 4 kilometres, they should lose you. So that's the way the code should work. Clearly, if it's not doing that, obviously, then get some footage, get some bugs in there. But I kind of think it is. So it might be that we need to tweak those numbers a little bit, because the megaship interactions are very new. It might be the scale slightly off, and we need to make them a little bit more blind so we can get some better gameplay there. Or maybe just tweak the mechanics in some other way. So, but give that a shot. That's how it should work. Why are boron, the same person, Andrak, why are boron and lead missing from the material trader? Because we messed up, and hopefully very shortly they will be with the material trader. So they should be. There's no reason why they weren't. We're fixing ASAP.
Quick pause.
Yes.
Guys, if you are going to join us tonight, do remember that tonight is a Chieftain Club night. So if you can all change into your Chieftains.
Chieftain! Because it looks awesome! But they're kind of mating even.
It's very strange. But,
it's arousing.
Sandy, sip of water
quickly.
Okay.
It's water. Okay, Commander Reaper. Will the Discovery scanners and Surface scanners get a rework in the Beyond update? Yes. So later on, there's going to be a big fat update that involves exploration in a pretty big way. And as part of that, we'll be looking at all of the exploration scanning processes and modules. So hopefully they'll be made better, maybe get some more. Should be pretty cool, hopefully. But obviously that's later on in the series, not in 3.0. Roots Rat. Are persistent ATR units planned? By persistent, I mean ones that follow a criminal to supercruise or hunt them down consistently, even if they escape the crime scene before ATR arrives. It's a really good question. So currently they don't. Currently ATR, are they, whilst you're in a system, they will be persistently angry with you, but they don't actually chase you around in supercruise. It's very likely that we might be looking at something like that. So it will be obviously post chapter 1. But again, it's going to be boring, but I'm going to keep saying this. We need to see how they bed in general. They're a pretty big change, okay? There's lots of people saying, oh, they're too powerful or not powerful enough. We need to really let them bed in and see them used in anger against players before we make any further changes. It may well be that we end up buffing normal police ships, normal authority ships a significant amount, but not to their level, to allow them to get, you know, to kind of balance the challenge that you get. So we might in the long run, but let's see how they work. And they're pretty cool already. Let's see how they work as is now, and then we can make further changes down the line as required. GJ51. Good job, 51, maybe? I don't know. Now there are so many more things that can be loaded into optional internal compartments. Isn't it finally time to consider making all scanners optional purchase upgrades to the basic Discovery scanner as a standard built-in component, perhaps move to a core internal on every ship? No. I understand the desire, because at the moment there are slightly too many things and you can't get them all in one ship. But the way to address that isn't to just totally remove it, in our opinion. It's to look at things like what I've discussed with the Olympic controller, having some sort of like rack array. So I think that we might be moving towards that as a nice solution for a lot of these module stressing problems, in terms of it's reducing the pressure by allowing you to group modules together, but not removing the concept of needing to balance, you know, what goes in your ship and what doesn't. That's not saying your idea is bad. It's not. It's fine. It's just that we've already got a system that we think we can work on and improve. I wouldn't want to throw it away for another system that effectively does the same thing, if that makes sense. Max Factor says, are there plans to use megaship interactions in other areas such as capital ships and combat zones, planetary outposts, etc.? Next time I said etc. correctly then. It really bugs me when people say etc. etc. Or maybe it's, I don't know.
Etc. It's
right.
actually ET, it's
yes.
etc.
It's ET go home. Right, so the short answer is yes. We're already looking at a few things, so I can't say anything more about it. But yeah, we are hopefully going to. The megaship interactions are pretty cool, and to spread them around the galaxy, get some more gameplay in more places is but a good thing. So we definitely want to do that. And a cheeky question from Max Factor: will combat zones and res sites be looked at, as they haven't changed anytime soon and are a bit bland? Having combat zones around installations would be, page done, much better with megaship type interactions, which get you with missions, and also maybe have large mine installations at res sites. A reason for pirates to go to those places, again with some kind of megaship type interactions there too. Yeah, so in the long run, we do want to look at a lot of these sites, these locations. I can't say anything more about it. There are plans afoot. They're very big, long-term plans. So don't expect anything just yet, but we hear you on that one, totally. Alec Turner, I'm paraphrasing this because it was a big bit of a wall of text. How does the kill warrant scanner work in 3.0, and isn't it worse? Aren't we losing the effort, the benefit of collecting all of those other bounties? There's a bit of a trade-off here. The kill warrant scanner had to change because the crime system changed in some pretty fundamental ways, even though the ethos is still the same. So the kill warrant scanner now, when you scan a ship, it will locate the biggest bounty on that ship, the biggest single bounty, and tell you about it. So if you can kill them, you'll claim that bounty. Now, that doesn't mean that you lose all the other bounties, because in the new system, bounties are all stuck on ships. And when a ship's destroyed and in a certain jurisdiction and it respawns, the villain has to pay all the legal costs for that jurisdiction. All of the other bounties stay on the ship. So when they launch, although they've paid off their dues for that faction, all of the other factions still want them dead. So what the kill warrant scanner will now do is just allow you to keep going after the same guy again and again and again until you've cleared him of bounties and killed him lots of times. One of the reasons that actually kind of works out better in some ways is because the villain has to pay more. You know, if you're good and you can keep chasing them down, you get to kill them legally if you're in the right jurisdiction more times. Having said that, now this is me just going completely off the wall here, so probably I'll get told off tomorrow. One thing that we are considering, and I don't know when or if we're going to do it, it's looking at me scared, we are we are nominally considering the idea of, in certain circumstances, allowing the kill warrant scanner to actually legalise assassination. So effectively, it would be like signing up to some sort of Geneva Convention where if the two factions involved, the one that issued the bounty and the one where the ship is, weren't completely at each other's throat, then it would effectively turn it into an active bounty that you could then attack them and claim. I think that would be better for the kill warrant scanner. It would make it, it would get people fighting and using it a lot more. And so that's kind of where we're looking at with that. But no ETAs, no guarantees on that. I think that's more of a pet wish than any kind of solid. Well, that has been discussed, and in general, people aren't completely against it. Hammerhead increased material drops rates from 3 to 5. Let's see how it works out at the moment, because there's a lot of changes that all work together with the engineering update. We might do it, we could do it, but we're not going to do it until we know we have to. Colour-coded bookmarks. We do want to look at the bookmarks system to organise it better. That's not in 3.0, that's in the big list, but it's one of those ones that we want to do, we just haven't got around to doing it. It's very likely, actually, that that might come when we look at exploration in the codex. A cone in the nav panel to indicate, I don't know why I did that, visited system, so as not to have to keep clicking in every system to check for unknown, or add show only unknown systems in the set navigation filters. Yeah, they're nice ideas. Nothing to announce at the moment, but I'll check them in the list. They seem very reasonable to me. If they're technically possible, that's a different matter, but they sound good. Sub-target filter to switch off modules anyone wants to avoid targeting. No, we're not going to do that. The reason being, actually, that using subsystem targeting and having to filter through and find the module you want is actually part of the gameplay. It's part of the challenge, actually, which is a fair way to say it. Because subsystem targeting is a very big benefit if you can work with it and use it well. Increase the size of the engineer's progress wheels. I totally hear where you're coming from with that. That's a GUI. It's more of a GUI change, layout change, which actually can be quite complicated. We'll definitely take it on board. We'll see how that goes. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we'll look at the legibility and keep as an ongoing thing. So JC4 Hokies asks, what happens when a clean Sidewinder suicide rams a clean Corvette at a res site? Does the Corvette get a murder bounty? Does the ATR respond? So currently I believe it would get a murder bounty, and ATR would respond based on bounties and kills in a system, so they might be part of that. We're going to keep an eye on that. We're already making a change to prevent some of the new crime changes, penalties from kicking in around starports. In space, technically, you've got more room to manoeuvre and fly around, so we're not. We'll see how that runs, but we may well end up not applying or removing the extra inflation of murder bounties for collision kills. One thing I can say is that we're still looking at that in terms of a lightweight karma system. So all these people that want to just cause grief to other people by ramming, eventually there will be a much harsher cost because we think it's a bit rubbish. Theodrid. Hey guys, notoriety decays. Notoriety decay rates. Are these up for discussion or set in stone for the foreseeable? The truth of the matter is in the middle. So they're not set in stone, but we want to see, again, broken record time, we want to see how this plays out in the live game in anger with all these people committing crimes and gaining notoriety and losing notoriety and the effects of notoriety, which means, you get restricted port services and you can't pay off the bounty until the notoriety is completely decayed. We have the levers, luckily, once the game has gone live, to tweak it to our heart's content. So it could be, I think it's currently going to be set to 1 point of notoriety decay for every 2 hours of in-game time. We might increase that. It's unlikely to go down unless we end up using a scaler, which means that at low notoriety it's very quick and at high notoriety it's very slow. These are all options, but basically what we need to do first of all is just see how well it works, right, across the board. And unfortunately, in the beta, there were a few hiccups that prevented us from testing as much of the crime as we wanted. So what that really means is we have to test some of it in live. But we're confident that the one thing we're very confident of actually is that regardless, we think this system is fundamentally better. Same with engineering. We think they're fundamental improvements to what's currently in live. So even if we can't catch every case and solve every problem, like I say, this is a marker in the sand saying this is what we intend to try and do, and we'll move forward in that direction. That's that page done. Right. I think that was done. Yeah, sorry.
Good, so no, take your time.
Okay, yes, that was that. Martin Shue says, as the changes to the bounty board is going to make it impossible to predict power play snipes, are there any plans for other changes to power play? I'll need to talk to the Power Play guys to get more details on this, because unfortunately my mind's been all over the place, so it could be that I'm missing something that I haven't had a chance to check. There are power bounties in the boards, and they do only print up top 5 power bounties for the system since the last cycle. So they should give an indication similar to what the old bounty boards were doing. I'll talk to the Power Play guys on Discord or something later on and find out what's going on there, because we do want to look at it and make sure that we're not taking anything away too much. As for change to Power Play, and I notice a lot of people have been putting this in the questions, you know, are we going to update? I really want to. I think we all really want to. It's just a matter of priorities and time. So yes, hopefully, but no ETA, no guarantee, because that's my middle name apparently. Well, actually, my middle name is No, but
yeah. Massive thank you still to Sandy, by the way, for already doing this. We've still got
that's cool.
to go.
That's cool.
Yeah,
totally. What time?
Wait,
okay, I can get through some more of these. Right, time to speed it up a bit. And Martin also says, I noticed that that the journal now has an amount of time pledged in seconds, so maybe there'll be time to add useful information to Power Play organisers, like background simulation organisers have gotten with the faction information. Are there plans to move Power Play from an entirely separate and costly mechanism to one that's based around the mission and passenger boards? We don't want to remove completely what's there already, but to integrate it with missions, passenger missions, normal missions, is something we definitely would like to do. We've got some ideas on how to do it as well. It's just a matter of time. So stick with us. Hopefully we will get to it. But no ETAs, no guarantees. Ambrosa says, did you see this interesting thread on Reddit regarding the lack of variety in NPC portrait features? Once it was pointed out to me, I couldn't stop noticing the complete lack of black hair in NPC crew portraits. I'll have to pass it on. I've not had much of a chance to look on the thread. I'll pass it on to the art department. We haven't done anything intentional there to make it so that one group of faces or types gets used more than another. So if anything, it's probably just a bug. And you're saying, I really appreciate the increase in material storage based on the grade of material. It also reminded me of a question I've been meaning to ask. Are there plans to increase the module storage limit beyond 60? What do you think?
No.
I find your arguments not convincing. Okay, Sether, when is the crate coming? Answer, soon, TM. Steed, will plasma accelerators, burst beam lasers, etc. get the same heat reduction buff as railguns? Well, luckily, thanks to the awesome staff, especially shout out to Mark Allen, who's been doing a fantastic job with this. We will be looking at, especially plasma accelerators, to try and work out, we've got solutions that like we've applied with the railguns, and we'll, over time, we're going through all of the modules to try and scoop up the corner cases, but we're doing them in order of priority of how bad it is currently. What's wrong? Don't die. And Steed also asked, there are numerous other double or triple secondaries from 2.4 unavailable in 3.0, e.g. weight and power reduction, whilst also applying weapon special effects. Do you have a plan for dealing with those? Yeah, we're going to go through them, case by case and see what the best solution is. It won't always be the same thing. Sometimes we'll probably be adding some of these effects to experimental effects. Other times we'll be creating new experimental effects. So there's no kind of catch-all answer. But other than we do want to look at it, we do want to make this as good as it can be. So yeah, we are going to look at it. It's an ongoing task. Commander Zadian Lichtfrost. Since Lakon is currently the ship manufacturer, could we get more information? I guess he means the Chieftain ship manufacturer or alliance. Could we get more information about the lore around Lakon? Where's the home system of Lakon? Not from me. That's classified information. Maybe at some point someone will be able to dish it out, but I'm not going to. What happened to DeLacy as the alliance ship manufacturer? Clearly it's a new order because Lakon have got the deal. What are you pointing?
Edward's ring is in all.
Steady on.
Steady on. No idea.
It's a family-friendly show.
Oh, dear.
Marshall ... says, given that God roll equivalents will be available on all drives, this is for engineering, I guess, are there any plans in increasing missile speed flight? Dumbfires are specifically becoming harder and harder to hit targets at range. Yeah, we can look at that. It's a really good catch. It's the kind of thing that we need guys like you testing to tell us about because it's so easy to slip. So we'll look at the speeds, see if we need to bump them up a bit. We probably do, I suspect, or let's see how much more uptake there is for engineering because it's a game of probabilities. Target lock breaker effect. Will this have an increased cooldown? Currently, if you're being spammed by them, you constantly lose lock. It is a bit of a trollish weapon. That's kind of intentional, but we will take another look at the cooldown. It's quite possible. It's just firing a little bit too often. It's too spammy. So it's likely. I've seen cases where I'm thinking, yeah, we maybe went a bit too fast. So we'll have a look at that. Perma boosting. Alexander the Great made a great post about the original use of ship boost before engineers. Tactically used to gain an advantage. Now with engineers, perma boost is possible and it turns some battles into tedious boost fest. Is it going to be looked at? And then you've got some ideas. Maybe constant boosting will damage ship engines after each boost, or there's a cooldown period, or boosting continuously causes higher heat levels. It's really funny you've said that. I was talking to Mark the other day. We definitely want to do something about that. I don't know when exactly, but sometime in the Beyond series is my hope, because there are a bunch of updates that are coming. Yeah, this is one of those areas where some amount of kind of increasing power is inevitable and desirable, but we don't want it to come at the loss of tactics. So it is something we will hopefully get around to looking at. The Lord Crimson says, are there any plans to make relative mouse control toggle keybind?
Lord Crimson.
Sorry, Lord Crimson, not at the moment, but maybe. It would just be a low priority thing. Could the next ship please be balanced around the FAS FDL rather than around the Clipper dropship to make the meta a bit more varied? Point noted. No ETAs or guarantees, but yeah, we take that on board. We'll be looking at that. Are you looking at buffing bulk and rare trading profit? We've got nothing to announce at the moment, but we're always... Well, in Beyond Series, it's one of the things that we're constantly going back to and looking at, because we're looking at some core systems and how they interact and their value compared to other systems and features. And then you've got, could you please add a filter to commander trading? Could you have a heat map for the filter? Could you have a commander crime rate heat map filter? Basically, improved filters and heat maps for the galactic map. They're great ideas. I can't promise them for two reasons.
Very, very important, but absolutely not, Lord Crimson. Absolutely not. It's a great name. He says he's worried that we're mocking him.
No,
absolutely not. It's
I'm jealous. I wish I was Lord Crimson.
He's just doing a silly voice. It's a great reason.
So yeah, this is for the galactic map. They're great ideas. They're significant work. The galactic map is non-trivial in every sense of the word. It's a giant piece of humming, throbbing data being pushed around and displayed. So I can't promise anything, but they are cool ideas and kind of on the big list. Wishblend, can we have emergency metal shuttles to drop down in the event of a canopy blowout? Optional buy-in outfitting, but as mass. That is awesome, right? I'm not going to deny it, especially I can imagine in my mind how it would work. However, it would be a significant amount of work, especially doing it for all the ships, for a very limited gain. So, and there are some issues as well with how you target things and how you see. Literally visually eyeballing things is part of the gameplay in Elite. So it's unlikely. Sorry about that. Can a battery be added to the power plant so that it works like the life support system, giving players a chance to repair the power plant? Well, if I'm getting that right, I think maybe what you need to do more is just use the ship repair reboot sequence, which can repair the power plant by eating other modules. So apologies if I've misread that, but that seems like the obvious answer there. If not, just come and shout at me on the forums and tell me how I've not understood it. Muet Diver. I see him all the time and I never know how to say that name. How would you say that name? Muetiver. Muet Diver. Don't know. Is the current iteration of wing missions the final product, or are there more plans to expand them with proper staple co-op scenarios like armoured convoys, convoy robberies, surface installation, wing raids, megaship wing raids, and installation defence missions against escalating wings of enemies? It's not the final iteration, no, at all. They've only just come in. We will be iterating on them. I think we have kind of started already. Nothing to announce at the moment. Also, why no Thargoid wing missions? That should be what. There are no Thargoid wing missions yet. And the last one from Muet Diver. So there's basically paraphrasing a lot of concerns about the change in authority and crime with power play. Let's see how that pans out. We've changed the way ships spawn in power play as well, so there are now escort ships. We're prepared to look at things and then make changes, but we need to see it out in the wild with all of the power players playing it at once. So I will be probably talking again with a bunch of the community power play people that I've talked to in the past to get more details on this, because it's an ongoing thing, right? Yes, we'll investigate. N34257. Question, how are we supposed to test the meta alloy hull reinforcements from the tech broker when they don't appear to exist anywhere in the game? Yeah, it's our bad. There was a little problem with them and they missed the test day, but they're going to go live. We're reasonably happy that they're safe, and I think can change them reasonably straightforwardly if there is a problem with them. So they are still coming. Rob at work says, is Dav still alive? # free Dav.
Dav's still alive, he's just very busy.
Rumours of Dav's demise have been exaggerated.
Yeah,
that's a word on the block. Yeah, page is done. Bob McBobblehead.
It's a good name.
Currently have loads of combat ships. Beyond Quarter 4 update, will we be getting new exploration mechanics? We will be getting new exploration mechanics and codex. Is there any chance of the three main superpowers all releasing their own exploration ship, like an Imperial Xplorer, Federation Pathfinder, Alliance Discovery? It's a cool idea. I couldn't tell you. if that is going to happen or not. Clearly, we do like the idea of getting new ships into the game. We have to be careful when we add superpower ships because they are rank locked. It does limit access to them for players. So whether we get them something like that, or we get just more independent exploration ships, or we just get a load of new exploration modules for your Xplorer ships, nothing set in stone there. Yamix says, could you go into detail as to what the Chieftain was based on and in the lore, how the ship fits in from the artist side, what was the thinking process behind making the design for it, and where were the driving motives? I can't answer most of that stuff. I'm not the right person for the lore, and I'm not an artist. I'll pass it on. Maybe we can get some sort of post or something that
talks about that.
It's good questions. Are there any stats that will change for the Chieftain for release? Well, we've recently reduced its mass and upped one of its slots from a 5 to a 6, so we've toughened it up yet again. We're going to see how that plays out. It's better. Will we get more module storage space? And I've not added in. I think you're threatening a riot if we don't. Well, that's pretty important. Maybe we should think about it. No. Okay. Sorry. No.
I've had enough.
Yeah.
That question.
Yeah.
Was that a bit strong?
It's quite strong. Would exchange ratios change to smaller numbers? I think I already answered that one. It's quite possible, but we don't want to do it until we've seen people using it. What is this personal narrative that I talked about? Well, it's actually a case of players interacting with story elements and gameplay features in a way that gives them results that are personal to them. So a very simplistic way is the tech broker, right? It's new for the game in that you do something it involves you dealing with the guardians, the ancient sites, and it unlocks rewards for you that are specific to you only. That's one aspect of it. There will be others coming, but it's about making your story, not in the traditional narrative sense, but in the sense of there is a kind of progress to your story about the things that you do. So that's what that means. Candyman, I won't say it 3 times though. First, a thank you for increasing the storage materials and data. Secondly, a thank you for FD's efforts to improve planets. In relation to exploration, are you aware that in excess of 1,500 commanders have signed up to Distant Worlds 2 expedition? And do you think FD will be able to support the event by facilitating dynamic community goals during their performance mission? I was going to say, this is one for Ed.
It is one for me, yeah. Details are still very early on that because, of course, well, it's coming at the end of quarter 4. Sorry, not the end of quarter 4, that's wrong. It's coming as part of the quarter 4 update. We've already announced that, right? We already talked about that.
I think we have, actually, yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to start again. The Distant Worlds 2 is coming at the end of quarter 4, or maybe even the start of quarter 1 2019. By that time, all of Beyond's chapter changes will be in there, meaning that it's going to be an interesting to arrange that now in advance.
Challenging, I think, is the answer you're looking for.
I'm fumbling my answers here. Yes, there is going to definitely be dev support. And I'm already working with the guys who do the CGs and things like that.
Absolutely okay with that answer. I understood every part of it.
Yeah, did you?
No. Right, but it doesn't matter. It's awesome.
My point, yes is the answer. We're going to try and work. I'm going to do my best to work with the developers. I just mean that a lot is going to be changing in the game before now and then. So we have to kind of arrange it maybe closer to the time. But yeah, we'll be working with the developers to make sure it's the most special event possibly can be. So yeah, have a look into Distant Worlds 2. There you go. That was slightly better. He spurred it on me.
You know what?
You didn't tell me that was coming.
Well, it was in the list. Before we go on, right? I'm thinking now, right? There's been a lot of questions
about what?
About module storage. They want module storage, right? You guys to put in the chat. Do you want more module storage?
Do you want module storage?
I can't really even address this if you're not going to at least have the decency to tell me that you want more module storage.
It's almost
just
as if...
give us a few module storages, right? I hope someone doesn't want module storage. But that's fine if you don't want module storage.
Just no more module storage.
Okay, right.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
All right.
No, there are a couple of people who say yes. Have you got your phone? You want to text them?
Well, I'll tell you what, look, right, I've got a coin here.
Oh, you can flip a coin?
Well, why don't we say, right, this coin's got some things on it. On one of the sides there's a 17.
Okay.
It's the Xbox.
Yes.
I'll flip a coin, right? See a double on the thing, right?
Double, all right,
I'll flip it, right? If it lands on the 17, then we'll double your module storage.
Right.
If it lands without 17, we'll take it away.
Right.
Where's it in? Yeah?
Yeah, gone.
Yeah, okay, right. What does it say?
Frontier X 17. There's a 17 on that side, mate. That means you've got to give it to him now.
Okay, let me just...
You're going to send him a text?
Yeah. Unlock my phone.
You could have put it onto... You're on airplane mode, so...
Yeah.
He's doing it. He's texting. Are you texting? Dav.
Yeah, Dav and Dan.
Dav and Dan.
All right.
There you go.
Okay.
Done.
What time is it now?
It's 1 minute to 8.
Okay.
They'll have it done in a minute.
Beta will have double module storage in about a minute or so.
From 8 PM onwards,
Right.
the beta will now have double module
Yeah,
storage.
and that will go through to live game.
There you go.
Right. So there it is. I don't know. I didn't really want it,
He
but
didn't want it.
apparently people want all this module storage.
This smells of practice, says
Yeah.
Alex Brentnall.
So it's worth pointing out that this module storage, it's we're not going to take it away. Now we're going to give it to you.
Dav Start is in the chat. Wait, what?
Yeah, Dav,
There
you better get on this, right? Read your text, otherwise this is bad news. That's not to say that we won't be looking at the interface for this in the future, because 120 is a lot of extra modules. But for now, you'll get it.
Okay, and also just a note, this coin had 17 written on both sides.
What? You've given away the
Sorry, I gave away the
showmanship.
showmanship.
Right, okay. Let's quickly go on then, because we're running out of time now. I'm just going to skim through a few of these. Right, blah, 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 blah. No. When will Ryan says, when will 3.0 be released?
We'll be announcing that soon.
Okay. Commander Raptor saying a lot of stuff. Oh, he's saying, when there's going to be a cure for the black squares? Well, we're still looking at that, right? I know that's been annoying. Just keep sending in build reports, keep sending us details. Hopefully, we'll get to the bottom of that. Perhaps a question that can't be answered, but how many different types of organics are there in the galaxy? How many have we found so far? And tree barnacles, guardian trees, blah blah blah. So really, we're not going to tell you that now, but that sounds like a job for the codex to me. So that's the kind of thing we'll be looking at in the exploration update, where we've got a codex where you fill in the things that you discover, and there's some sort of mechanical process for understanding how far you've progressed. And you also asked, are the types of volcanism on a planet restricted? What's in the logs, or are they going to hold different types? They're not restricted. I've been told is the answer there. Let's just move on, get some more in there. Will there be a way down the line with the codex to scan geological sites to get further information on just exactly what type of volcanism we're looking at? Maybe a few credits for the scan. Yeah, we're looking at that kind of thing. No guarantees, but it's exactly the kind of thing that we're looking at. Let's look at more things. So a lot of people saying, when are we going to look at power play? I'm hoping that we'll get to look at it. No guarantees, no ETA, but we've got loads of really crazy cool ideas for it.
That's interesting.
Main sequence says, will we ever see the return of the long-range smuggling and haulage missions during the Beyond series? No guarantees, no ETAs. Quite probably to some degree. But actually, we've got a few really cool ideas for smuggling in general, but I'm not allowed to talk about them in case they don't happen.
He's got excited about his module storage.
Little bit
You can't
excited.
stop him now.
To hear Takasumu says, why military slots can't have fuel tanks, because fuel tanks aren't military modules, unfortunately. Takaso says, hi Sam, living the update and streams. Will Silent Run get rework? Stealth could be a massive part of the gameplay, but NPCs seem to ignore it. So I've already explained how NPCs work. However, as I've also said, we'll look at that, especially in terms of regarding the new interactions around megaships and other things that might happen. We might need to tweak those numbers, so we will be taking a look at Silent Running. Palooka says, are you looking to implement real meaningful PvP gameplay, not PvVP like power play? You need to be a little bit more specific and maybe a little bit less passive aggressive for an answer. There is PvP in the game. That kind of just is. Are you looking for an evolution of the background simulation to make it compatible with risk-reward concept? That's a really good question, actually. The primary function of the background simulation is to simulate life in the galaxy. It's not particularly for a win-lose risk-reward. There is some amount of risk-reward in there. We will be doing updates, but our primary goal there is always to make it feel like something's happening, that you're having an effect, but not necessarily you're getting loads of gains or you're getting loads of penalties. But it's a good question, actually, because there is an amount of win-lose that we want to get in there.
Very quickly, I just want to give a shout out to Commander Halcyon for earlier on doing some fantastic, hilarious comedy flybys. And if he could do some more for me, that
sounds
would
great.
really please me.
Grunberg says, when can we expect focus feedback? That's on the forums for exploration changes. I imagine the next month or few months we'll get something up and running. We want to get in really early on that one. Dagbar says nothing to doesn't say that, I said that. He says, will the Farragut and Majestic be playable carriers for the mechanics of the fleet in the fourth quarter? No, they are superpower warships. They're not carriers. Thank goodness for that. All right, we'll get some more ones in there. Atomic Mega Nerd paraphrasing, saying wing missions, some would just give you too low payouts. The base level's too low. It's an ongoing balancing task. We've literally been doing some more balancing today. it's actually quite complicated. It's quite difficult to get the range right for everyone. There's always going to be some outliers. However, I understand, point taken, that the board's getting filled up with too many kind of just really crud ones that no one wants. So we are looking at that. Roy says, can you give the reason behind notoriety? It doesn't seem to match up to people's expectation, i.e. notoriety by the nature of the word would indicate long-term repercussions of a person's activity. That's amazing. In answer to that question, that's a bit like asking why ship destruction doesn't match people's idea of being dead rather than respawning. So notoriety, we're using it in the game to have consequence for people that go around clubbing seals mainly and causing loads of mayhem. So it's doing a couple of different jobs. One of the big ones is to stop people focus or make people pay more when they're focusing on new players and players that don't have much. Some would argue that 20 hours of in-game time to get rid of notoriety when it's at 10 is quite significant, but I understand that these are subjective viewpoints. The bottom line is, let's see how it works out in the wild. We've got the tools to tweak that number many different ways, make it a lot longer, shorter, give it some sort of logarithmic curve or something. So we are going to keep looking at that. Elaidane says, the potential implications of Halloween crack on future Antarctic exploration. The forecast doesn't look good. Riverside, what's the thinking behind having engineers offer straight upgrades rather than side grades and forced compromises? Do you foresee an end to power creep, or is it likely to continue in the future updates? It's a really good question, Riverside. Engineers always had an element of raw upgrade. That was always the case. It was overt. I think we overcooked it in some areas, and so that's why we're constantly looking at balancing it and rebalancing it. But it was always going to be there. I think going forward, the answer is there will almost certainly be some power inflation ongoing. It's almost inevitable, but it's not the only tool we're going to use. And occasionally we will be using more precise changes to systems, maybe nerfs, but often they might be just different ways of doing things. So we're not afraid to actually alter mechanics reasonably significantly if we think that it's going to give us the best result. So I hope that kind of gives a clear idea that we understand the concept of power creep and the risks of it. We also feel that to a degree you need a little bit of it. We're going to keep an eye on things. That's why we've done all this engineer upgrade. You know, we've done these upgrades to partly to, and it seems crazy, might seem crazy because a lot of the ships are going to be better, but actually what it's going to end up with is a more level playing field. So there are trade-offs whenever you do anything like that. So we think there's some good stuff that's going to come out of it.
So sorry, Sandy. There's a really funny little dance that's happening in front of me.
I like those green thrusters. They're amazing. Joe Hammond says, "Is Colonial forgotten? Will it be something new in the first season's patch?" Not forgotten. They've got material traders and tech brokers coming in. CG is going to still be there. We've got more plans further down the line, not for necessarily Chapter 1, but Colonial is an ongoing thing. I'm just going to dive into the random ones here. So. Would it be, so Tito3, one of your questions, sorry I can't do all of them, would it be possible to let us rename engineered modules so we can tell them apart in inventory and on the modules tab? Yeah, it's a great idea, it's going in the list. It might already be in the list actually, but it's a good idea.
Looks like it's coming out with a mouth.
It does look like that, doesn't it? Jesus Rocks, 1988.
Sorry, Sandy.
Says, let's go. What happened between FX17 and the beta that meant the crate ceased to be part of the Q1 update as implied by the Xplorer? I don't think we implied it actually. I don't think we did. But anyway, it's coming in the Beyond series. It's coming soon, TM.
Yeah, I think I covered this the other day on the forums.
Yobratome, I love that name. Why is it PRF Dev is moving the game towards hull tanking meta with increased hull reinforcement, new ships being more hull tanky, reverberating cascade on lasers on ATRs, rendering shields useless? There's a couple of points. Firstly, no. Though we'd like it to be the meta to be more tank hulky. Shields more hull tanking. Shields are just as strong as ever for now. ATR have the ability to pop shields because they need the ability to pop shields because they have a very specific goal to play in the game, which is to cause a real threat of very, very fast death for continuing to do something where we feel that it's time you moved on. That's what they're there for. So that shouldn't be taken as a well, this is how everything's going. And the Chieftain and the Defender happen to have a mandate of being quite tanky ships, but that's not to say all ships are going to be like that. For example, the Crate won't be. I'm fairly confident. I probably shouldn't have said that, mate. They are.
No.
So, on the other hand, in fairness, hull tanking overall, we need a blend. You need a balance, right? Shield gameplay is cool. Hull tanking is cool. Hull tanking has got the advantage of you're always doing some damage. There's always a risk reward going on all the time, whereas shield damage doesn't have that. But you've got various boosters and shield cell banks and whatnot. So it's something we're going to look at. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to look at different ways to defeat shields, so that hopefully it opens up the meta a little bit in general. Happy Time Logan says, one of his questions, NPC wings, hire pilots from your faction, power, share profits for solo players, scaling missions based on wings. Nothing to announce at the moment. It's a great NPC crew, and wings, right, is a good idea. We are interested in doing it, but for that we'd need a bunch of extra stuff. We'd need a bunch of extra ways to communicate with NPCs, I think, for a start, and some more rules to govern them. So it's not at the moment. Nice idea, though. So you also ask, on one side it's good to crack down and have serious repercussions for trollers, but can you make crime great again and make darker but more lucrative crime paths that's possible to thrive with max notoriety? It's not really what notoriety is for. As I just mentioned earlier, notoriety isn't necessarily a good thing at all. It's just one of the tools that we've got to encourage a certain style of gameplay, or at least have consequences for not following a different style of gameplay.
Just really quickly, we've got about 10 more minutes left, so Sandy can do 3 more questions.
Oh, yeah, give a few more.
It'll be great. If by the way, I can just quickly ask that if we can get the people who are playing the game right now to organise themselves into a conga line that goes slowly across everybody in a nice easy line across the front of the camera, then we'll do a nice big giveaway at the end. But first of all, we have to see the conga line happen while Sandy does this.
I'm looking bated breath.
So it's up to them to arrange.
As I was saying, it's notoriety is about having consequences for certain actions that are quite heinous, like such as killing ships, killing players. Having said that, when you say criminal activities, you're taking away the notoriety aspect. Smuggling and piracy are both criminal activities. We're looking at both of those. And neither of them deal with notoriety, right? Because you're not killing ships if you do them correctly. But I think people might have already noticed that we have some high-value targets flying around space that weren't there before. They're pretty tasty for pirates. So that's just a tiny little boop that we're putting in there. There's more hopefully to come. Black Ixo says, why don't you give criminals, pirates, killers, power play commanders something to do in game? How about criminals get gameplay to reduce the pointless killing? Instead we get ATR with overpowered station weapons that make pirates like me just kill the trader who doesn't comply right away, turning me into a griefer, as they like to call me in the forums. I'll not be able to give them a second chance to reconsider their option or take out shield or knock out their drives whilst I take cargo because ATR will be there ASAP. So now I'm forced to kill all non-complying traders before ATR show up, and looking at the bare bones ship traders fly, it won't take much time and I'll be out there before the ATR show up. Did you consider this outcome? And that will ruin piracy when it goes on. Actually, unfortunately, some information is just incorrect. If you don't kill a piracy victim, you never increase your notoriety. So you won't get massively inflated bounties. So the ATR are be very, very likely to turn up unless you do loads and loads and loads of non-murder crimes. In addition, ATR is limited by system security. So if you're in a low security system, it still takes them ages to get there. And you need to kill even more ships before they're summoned. In high security, though, it is, especially if you start murdering people, right? There is a consequence. High security, we want it to be more secure. So yeah, if you start murdering people, which isn't really piracy, then expect some pretty horrendous response very, very quickly whilst you're in that system. So hopefully give it a chance, see how it goes, because some information's not quite right. And maybe you'll still disagree, and that's fine, everyone has different viewpoints, but give it a chance because you might find it's not quite as what you were expecting. Keenson says, are there any improvements coming up for the ASP Scout? Or are we going to get an ASP Mark II as an Alliance Lakon military vehicle? We've got plans for the ASP Scout that I'm quite excited about, but I'm not going to talk about. An ASP Mark II, unlikely, but you never know. I mean, it's the same thing. We might buff the normal ASP, right? So there's all these things are possibilities, rules, looking at the ships. But for the ASP Scout and a few of the ships in particular, we've got some things that hopefully will be rather cool in the pipeline. Heisenberg 6626 says, will FD put a Tesla in the game now that we know that there is one? Quite possibly. Actually, I really want to, yes. I think that'd be great.
Don't say that.
I can say what I want.
Tesla in the game.
Well, we can't put a Tesla in, but maybe we can put something in that's... well, we should talk, just get Musk on the phone.
Let's talk.
Oh, Elon, let's do it. Could be awesome. Super Death, wow. More private group management tools, when? Beat your question, will there be treasury megaships that we would need a wing to steal the big haul of awesome goods such as 400 tons plus of gold from? It's likely we'll be looking at private management tools when we get to the meat of squadrons. So yeah, we are going to look at that. I don't know what we're going to do exactly, but we want to improve it. And you could argue that there are some ships filled with lots of cargo. Some high-value targets have got a lot of cargo now that you could say you need a wing to kind of effectively get them. But yeah, we'll be looking at that kind of thing as well.
Sandy?
Yeah.
Just going to give you a sec, just 1 second.
What's going on?
I believe that the conga line may have begun.
Okay. There's the first one.
So you carry on.
Okay.
Just so people are aware, look, it is happening.
Oh, it's certainly happening. Oh, look at that. They look so cool. I do love this game. Spiffy Bandit. When can we expect a rebalance of passenger missions to be implemented? So someone who frequently runs passenger missions around. The complete removal of distance-related rewards has negatively impacted gameplay to quite a large degree. Totally get why the rebalance was necessary, but I'm confused as to why Frontier shut down the rewards without any solution in place. We've actually put them already back online, distance-related rewards for passengers, but we've had to alter the rewards, that's all. Balancing should be considered an ongoing process here, though. I was literally talking to Adam today, so we're always looking at those mission rewards. Let's get a few more in here from different people.
Thank you, everyone. Fantastic work. Oh, we've got a reverse flight.
Baby Powered 84 wing missions. Are wing missions available to be shared amongst multi-crew members? Yes, I think you can have a multi-crew ship and have a wing mission and you share it amongst your crew members. Oronchi, a HUD overhaul. When? Overhaul in what way? I need to know some more specifics before I could tell you whether we're going to do something or not. And you want some fuzzy dice. You want some items that don't look like children's cake candles. Okay, well, it's maybe a little bit harsh, but fair enough. We'll look at various things that could go in your cockpit. Janissa Lorraine, have you considered whether it might make more sense to put a single material trader who trades all 4 categories at each engineer? It would make sense to have a thriving trade in materials or spring. It would make sense that you get a thriving trade in materials around engineers, and it would further ease some of the frustrations associated with engineering. Are there reasons that make this undesirable? If possible, clarify what those reasons are. Yeah, they are. You might not like it, but there are very important reasons, and it's called, we don't want to just put it all on a plate, all in one place, right? Engineering is a process, especially with the new system where you're working through the grades of modules and you're building up your ship, especially for the newer players. We have material traders, but we specifically didn't allow one material trader to trade in all of the goods because it would just be this one go-to thing, okay? And it's not something we want. There is effort involved in engineering, especially now that it is a lot more straightforward. It is a lot easier, and it's likely a lot more people are going to do it. We still need to kind of say, yeah, there's cost of effort and time involved in this, so it's very much on purpose. However, we'll be keeping an eye out on what happens with engineering, if it's got a much bigger uptake or not, or how people use it or not, and what they tell us. So we'll keep our ears and eyes peeled with a big peeler.
I'm not sure about that.
No, nor am I.
Don't peel your eyes.
Any good ones in there?
How many more pages have we got? We've got a couple left.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, I'm not getting all the questions.
We've got another 5 minutes. So
okay.
Take your time.
Oh, someone's who's that? Long John Silver one says, are the ATR force responses scale in time related to the security of the system? Yes, they do. The higher the security level, the less ships you have to kill before they're summoned, and the faster they arrive. The lower the security level, that kind of goes the other way. And obviously in Anarchy, they shouldn't respond at all. Will colour changes to planets be provided with some comment on what the colours mean? E.g., if I see a red and brown planet listed as 35% iron, 24% nickel, will I be told which is which, or is this another trial and error thing? You won't be told that. It's a bit too complicated. The systems don't match up entirely. However, that's what you'll need the cool new exploration mechanics for exploration and mining for in a later update. Would you like to? Do you want to take a few? Because I actually.
Right. Okay. Grab a few of those, or were there any specifically that you wanted to hit in here?
There was one actually I thought was quite important, but I can't find it now, so it's gone. Let's look at a few of these then. Last few.
You covered all of the important points. By the way, thank you all for your...
So this is from Neil F. You got any plans to make cargo expelled easy to collect rather than spread out over huge distances? Anyway, to scale the amount of cargo, so more cargo is expelled from T9 with 400 tons than T6 with 40 tons. Yeah, we will hopefully be looking at some point. The obvious answer actually is probably improvements to the Olympic collector, but I couldn't tell you exactly what they'll be, but it's something that we would like to look at. No ETAs, no guarantees, but we've got mining coming up, right? And that interesting that there are some shared principles between mining and piracy. Longer term, what mechanic will be employed to prevent mindless destruction in anarchy systems? None, because they're anarchies. However, if we have something interesting in an anarchy system, I don't know, Thargoid related or whatever, I think you've made some concept of that. You've noted that. If we really want there to be some control, we will have to enforce a jurisdiction, whether it's temporary or permanent. So that's the way we control how crazy things can get. And is Notoriety currently... Notoriety, its current work is aimed primarily at PvE or PvP too? It's actually a bit of both. PvP, it's to give consequences, not stop, give consequences to seal clubbing. You get some titanic bounties, which you might have to tweak in live. If you get a really powerful ship and you attack a really weak ship. But for PvE, it is in there in that the more murders you commit, there is a component which increases your bounty based on notoriety. So even attacking NPC ships, that murder becomes a more serious thing. So it's a bit of both.
2 more questions.
Someone was asking about storage. Well, you've already done that.
We will be thrown out of this building.
Vox Fluctus. Would it be possible to have Sandy on standby at my office to give hugs when Job gets me down? He looks like he gives good hugs. Actually, I give fantastic hugs.
I wouldn't know. I've never received a proper one, apparently.
Not many people get my hugs. They're smothering almost to the point of not being able to breathe, but
in a nice
always
way.
friendly. Yeah. But no, sorry. Unless you're going to pay me loads of money, like to retire. And then yes.
Next question. Quickly.
Right. So as far as Phoenix Defire, as far as crime and punishment change is concerned, can you explain the reason behind the only place to pay off all accrued bounties is instead of contact? I was under the impression that if you lost your ship to the police, you got taken to the detention centre where you had to pay off all your bounties, get a totally clean ship afterwards. No, that's actually wrong. The reason you have internal factors there to clean a ship entirely, and why they won't do it when you're notorious, to have some teeth in that, is that when you are killed in a jurisdiction and you're handed over to the police and you're processed at their detention centre, they only care about bounties in their jurisdiction. So you will pay for those and then they'll send you on your way, but your ship will have all the other bounties still stuck on it, so beware. This is another part of the teeth of bounties which some people maybe haven't been aware of, is that unless you're prepared to use external factors, when you die, it's not the be all and end all of, oh, my ship's clean now. Your ship is clean in that jurisdiction only.
Wonderful. One last one, if you can find one, unless you feel like you're ready to move on.
Oh, so okay, so who is that? Moesis says, one of the things says, you mentioned the crime changes thread, inflated rebuy costs don't apply to NPC ships, standard notoriety cost does. So you pay more for your notoriety, so you pay more as your notoriety increases, but you pay vastly more if you're trouncing small ships piloted by commanders. And you're saying you're not sure what inflated rebuy costs are. So let me just quickly go through that. Notoriety is a stat. It starts at 0, it goes up for 1 for every murder you do. That's an NPC ship or a player ship. And it tops out at 10. So there are a couple of things that key off it. One is the internal factors will not allow you to clean your ship of bounties if you've got notoriety above 0. So notoriety decays at the rate of about, at the moment, 1 point every 2 hours. But we might change that. The other part is, what does notoriety do to your bounty? Well, notoriety means that when you commit the crime of murder, and the crime of murder only, your bounty is inflated based on your notoriety and a couple of other factors. There are 2 formulas that are used. The first one is universal, and it's the value of your ship, the value of your ship's rebuy. For every murder that you commit, your bounty is increased by a fraction of your rebuy cost based on your notoriety level. So with notoriety 1, it's a tiny fraction, barely worth mentioning. But when your notoriety is 10, there's it probably something like another 4% or something of your rebuy cost. So you end up on the higher end ships having a bounty that's in the millions, okay, for killing a ship, and that's any ship, because you are very notorious, and it's that's an issue, right? I mean, you're gonna have to pay a lot if you get caught. The second part is specifically for ships that have rebuy costs, which at the moment is mainly commanders only. So when you kill, for example, another commander ship, the formula will be, you will still pay that first extra notoriety penalty, so you're still going to pay this extra penalty based on your ship's rebuy, but in addition, you'll pay extra money on the bounty based on the differential between your ship's rebuy and the victim ship's rebuy. So the more expensive your ship is over the victim, the more you will pay, fraction-wise, of your ship's rebuy, and it's 10% per point of notoriety. So at the moment, at notoriety 10, you pay on your bounty, if you are a top-end ship attacking an almost worthless ship, you'll pay your rebuy cost again as part of the bounty value. That's very significant. So you got a pimped out war conda that's got like a 30 million rebuy, that's another 30 million on the bounty. So it's very significant. But to get that, you'd have to be in a super pumped up anaconda and attacking like a day 1 sort of noob sidewinder. It encourages you to attack ships that are as valuable as yourself, because if the differential is 0 or the other way, the other ship's the same value as yours or more expensive than yours, there is no penalty added there, because we think that's just a great thing. This rebuy penalty doesn't look at modified rebuy costs, so you don't get any benefits of being an elite player or a backer with some sort of rebuy cost penalty. like benefit. It just looks at the base rebuy value. And we're putting in some calculations so that engineering affects it. So if you engineer your ship, it's technically worth even more. So the difference you pay could be more, a lot more. So that's how that works.
There you go, wonderful answer. And a wonderful answer to all of those questions that you just read.
Apologies for talking so stupidly fast with a silly accent.
But yes, please, in the chat, please, round of applause for Sandro Sammarco for coming along tonight to answer all those questions. I think you did a fantastic job, and thank you. And thank you, everybody, for testing the beta out. Invaluable feedback, absolutely. I repeat that phrase over and over and over again, but the game couldn't be made in the way that it is without the help that you guys put
Absolutely.
in. Literally couldn't exist. So massive thank you. We haven't got an announcement of the date today, but do keep a lookout for that. And again, thank you for being so awesome in the chat as well tonight.
Love it. I'm loving the claps.
Questions, loads of claps. Sorry about the crackling.
Yes,
but
apologies.
also thank you to the amazing guys who have been playing around. I'm sorry if I distracted anybody.
No,
at all
it's awesome. No.
the conga line, but that was it was brilliant. And so because of that as well, we have in the community prize pack, in the community events forum, there's a sticky post which says community prize packs. So it's community events on the forums, community prize pack. I think there's 8 packs in there, and it's something like 30 paint jobs. It's quite a lot. Because this is the last beta before launch, and the launch of 3.0, which is very exciting stuff. Why don't we give away one person can get every single pack, which is a lot of paint jobs. I can't remember how many there are, but somebody could find a link as well. One of the mods could find a link for me.
Do it.
I think, Osric has just posted in the chat, Osric42, if you look for his name on there, you can find them and see what they are. So it's money can't buy paint job packs there, and it is thanks to the community for that wonderful conga line that you can say that you're going to get one of those. So
well done, you.
In the
Ghosts.
in there, what would you like people to say?
House.
What would you like people to say? And then we've got to go quickly as well. After
Module
that, so
storage.
Module storage. Say that. Say that in the chat. Say module storage, and we will pick somebody at random to win. So it's quite a lot. Money can't buy paint jobs, which is really, really, really cool.
That's pretty impressive.
Module storage. Enjoy.
There he goes.
And Sandy, Adam on the stream last time we were here sang "No ETAs, No Guarantees" to the theme tune of
what?
To the theme tune of Only Fools and Horses.
I didn't know the theme tune.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
No,
I remember it.
Income tax, no VAT.
Yeah. Okay. No. What? You know. What? I don't. What are you asking me to do?
ETAs, no guarantees.
What? Just repeat that.
You don't have to do it.
I don't know how to do it.
It's fine.
No ETAs, no guarantees.
There you go.
But then what else? Is that it?
I can't remember what the rest of the lyrics
I'm
are.
sure Adam's just more handsome and better than me at everything, so I resent him.
He is
and I resent that he just made me do
He is
that.
a very handsome man.
You can probably stop doing the module
storage.
storage now.
Stop saying module storage. What did you say?
That's too much module storage. You're not getting any more just yet.
You've got 120, which is...
Yeah, we doubled it.
Doubled it. That's good, right? And just another example of how we listen to your feedback.
You might not agree with all the changes we make, but we do. One thing you
truly believe
we do it based on feedback, and we have our opinions, and we have to make the final call, and we can't please everyone, but we do want to make this game as good as it can be for as many people. So your feedback is invaluable. Keep giving it.
Yep, right. I'm gonna. Like, I know that you're all saying it still, but I'm going to do the random number generation now. The random number generator. I can't speak today for some reason.
Apparently, I'm not allowed to hug anyone else. Sorry, the hugging offer has been rescinded.
Sorry. Hold on a minute. The fact that there's very specific to one person. The fact that you've stuck around this long shows that you think he's all right. So I'm not sure what. I'm not sure why, but fair enough. I'm gonna get a hug for him afterwards. Module storage.
Come on, let's do this.
That's not what I'm doing. I'm doing random number generator.
Yeah. Random module generator. We're not doing
that. All right, here we go. Okay. Oh gosh, that's right in the middle. There we go. Oh no, it changed for me. That's nice.
105. There it is. There it is.
Random number, and that goes to Adrian Petford. Congratulations,
Adrian, well done.
Adrian Petford. Whether you're playing on the Xbox One, PS4 or PC, you get in all of those paint jobs from the community event prize pack forums. There's a whole lot of them in there. They feature ones that were given away at PAX East, PAX West, PAX South
I want them.
Liv, you can have them. I'll have them for you.
Awesome.
All right, and so yeah, well done, Adrian Petford. If you could please send us a PM, a private message from your account to this account, and also an email to community@frontier.co.uk. We can then verify that it is you,
sort it
and it is
out.
the right person,
Sorted.
and get it added to your account
Yeah.
tomorrow or Monday, as soon as possible. So well done, Adrian. Thank you so much again, Sandy.
It's always a pleasure. Thank
you,
me.
everybody, for being awesome. Thank you for being so awesome across this beta period. Can't wait for this to come out, for everyone to finally play in the game. I can't wait to get my hands on it myself in the real game.
It's going to be exciting. We've put too much in again.
We put too much in again.
Stupid like
We
that.
just can't stop. And we'll see you all next week, I'm sure, for some more live streams. But have a very lovely weekend. And thank you again. And see you
Bye-bye.
next time. Bye.